Hey everybody, and welcome back to another max velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, we'll be breaking down two massive storms that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 days, one of which could bring a full-blown severe weather outbreak to parts of the United States, and the other one that could bring some snow to areas that have not yet seen snow this winter. I'll give you the latest breakdown on both of these and more in this forecast, but let's first begin with what's happening across the United States today, beginning with the southeast United States, which is where our primary focus will be over the next few days. This is where we could see a few tornadoes spawn, along even with a snowstorm for some of those in the southeast United States. On the other hand, the rest of the United States is staying fairly dry, high pressure dominating the central and northern plains. A very small upper level low has developed in the southern plains this afternoon, bringing a few little snow showers to those in Texas as well as back through Arkansas, but no snow accumulation is expected there. Now, as I mentioned, there will be a chance for severe weather, and that all begins tomorrow in Florida. There is currently a slight risk for severe weather. This is primarily for the threat of damaging winds, along with a few tornadoes going into tomorrow afternoon and evening, so make plans ahead of time. There will be widespread showers and storms across central and northern Florida. Marginal threat goes all the way back down into Tampa, Orlando, and just north of Cape Canaveral. Tornado threat again is a 5% probability, so we'll likely at least see 2 to 3 tornadoes tomorrow, probably on the brief and weak side of things, but again, you should be prepared, have a plan in place as we head into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Going into the morning hours tomorrow, some showers and a few storms will enter inland around 6 to 7 a.m. tomorrow. These shouldn't be too severe. I wouldn't rule out an isolated spin up, but the main activity will be during the afternoon as a low pressure system develops back down just south of Pensacola, Florida. This will spur up some showers and storms with additional moisture and instability, which will increase that tornado threat as we go throughout the afternoon and evening. And eventually going into the late evening and overnight hours, most of those showers and storms will push off the east coast, which is where maybe a few water spouts will be possible just off the coast of Florida and Georgia. Eventually going into Sunday morning, we'll be watching a very defined low pressure system develop over Georgia. This could bring some flooding concerns. Along with that, it could bring some snowfall to some areas in the southeast. So if we kind of take you through the snowfall potential heading into Sunday, all day Saturday will be primarily just some rain, but going into the overnight hours Saturday into Sunday morning, we could have a potential for some snow showers and even maybe a mixture of rain and snow from Virginia all the way back through North Carolina and Tennessee. Wouldn't even rule out a little bit of some flurries or light snow in northern Georgia or even into Alabama, so don't rule that out. Shouldn't see a whole lot of accumulation that far to the south, but our main areas of accumulation will likely be in Tennessee as well as western North Carolina. So currently the forecast and computer models from the HRR model is indicating a decent 1 to 3 inches in some areas. Wouldn't rule out a couple of higher elevated areas get maybe upwards of a half a foot of snow, but again, that would be for those higher elevations, but most areas between a coating to a few inches. And then going over into North Carolina and Virginia, we would at this point, I'm expecting kind of in that 1 to 3 inch range as well. We could see some areas though get up to 6 inches of snow even in some of the lower elevations. So another area to watch for will be kind of from Harrisonburg, Virginia, all the way back through Gainesville, Georgia, so a pretty large area there. Now there will be a chance for some severe weather as we head into next week. 2 areas to watch, or really 2 days I should say to watch. One will be going into Tuesday. There will be a low pressure system that'll develop over the central and northern plains. This will actually potentially produce a threat for some showers and a few storms. Severe weather right now not really anticipated out of this system, but it might bring even a little bit of snowfall to those in the northern plains. So Minnesota, you might get a little winter storm action, but the much bigger concern will be the second trough that develops as we head into next week. In fact, this low pressure system is expected to be negatively tilted, which will increase the potential for severe weather going into mid to late next week, and it will basically bring every type of weather that you can basically imagine. So from snow, that could obviously equivalent to a winter storm, and then we'll also be talking about the threat for severe weather, which could include tornadoes, damaging winds, and as well as some large hail. But the low pressure system will mainly impact the central and southern plains going into late Wednesday into Thursday morning. Eventually going throughout the day Thursday, this low pressure system will race off to the north and east, potentially producing a winter storm for those from the central plains back through the Midwest, and additionally some severe weather for the southeast United States. So a couple of things to watch here will be the winter storm threat and as well as the severe weather threat. Going into late Thursday into Friday, this low pressure system races off to the north and east. Again, a pretty intense low pressure system for this time of the year, and eventually going into late Friday into Saturday, we'll start to clear things out going into the third weekend of February. Now, something that's pretty wild is how much instability will be in these two systems. So the first trough that I was mentioning on Tuesday, this is the instability. You can barely see any color on the map. That is basically representing almost no instability, which means any severe weather threat on Tuesday will be very low. But once that second low pressure system develops, that instability comes shooting out of the Gulf of Mexico with values upwards of 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram. Now, I'm not saying instability is literally shooting out of the Gulf of Mexico, but the dew points will be much higher, as well as the temperatures, which will allow for more instability in the atmosphere with daylight heating. So that's what we'll be watching for Wednesday night into Thursday, and even going through Thursday, instability will reach as far north as southern Michigan. It is a very large area that we're watching heading into this upcoming week. Now, overall, the Storm Prediction Center has already issued a couple of days of severe weather, so be mindful of Wednesday night for those back in East Texas all the way back through western Tennessee. There is a slight risk for severe weather, and then heading into Thursday, another slight risk of severe weather exists. Alabama is included pretty much entirely in that slight risk right now going into a week from yesterday, so it is a pretty large area that we're watching going into next week. By the way, temperatures heading into tomorrow for high temperatures, there is a massive difference. We have a cold front up and down the East Coast, but Florida is the big exception to these temperatures. Look at these wild temperatures. We're talking about mid 80s, and we're in February, nowhere near average for this time of the year down in Florida. Meanwhile, the rest of the country will, for the most part, be around average for this time of the year. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you've not already. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting.